Yes! A brilliant, sweetest feeling for Rotherham United!
It's got round the back, and Richard Wood has done it again! It's done! It's Georgie Kelly!
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello everybody, welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. I promise at some point in the future we will actually talk about football. That isn't going to happen today because that, again, hasn't been one. 3 weekends in a row we're unbeaten. We haven't lost for 3 weekends or so. That's good work by everybody involved. Our ground staff and particularly the Bradford ground staff as well. Well done, everybody, for maintaining unbeaten weekends in a row. But we're going to talk about the Huddersfield game. We'll talk about the postponement. If you have any questions you want us to answer, serious or not, just put them in the comments. We've got a handful already. But put them in the comments and we'll get as close to an hour as possible. But feels unlikely. Mick's back with us. How you doing, Mick?
I'm all right, mate, yeah. There's been no football. It's playoff weekend. There's some games, American football games on telly. Let's just cut to chase. It's been a great weekend for Rotherham United. It's been fantastic. See you on Thursday.
Yeah, fair enough. And Ben's back with us. Ben, this was your last game before you go back to Mexico. And, well, it went better than the rest of the games you've seen, to be fair.
Yeah. I think we had more chance of scoring a goal than any other games as well. But we might start winning, now I can't watch games, so we might start winning.
Yeah. Just really excited, Ben doesn't leave before the Huddersfield game on Tuesday, so we will obviously lose on Tuesday first, and then we can start winning. Although he doesn't leave till late Saturday, so Huddersfield Stockport will lose, but then the game after we're back on it, back on the unbeaten run, gets underway properly after that. And Danny's back with us. How's your football-free weekend been, Danny?
Busy and tiring, if I'm being honest, lads. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I was legitimately caught napping because I did 14 hours at work yesterday, but I'm alive and I'm here. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about, because we can't talk about football, can we? Not
really. We got good YouTubers, because good evening, one and all. Sorry, you threw me with the time, 14:23. Sarah Ogden says, good evening, Mills. Stephen McNeil, this is all. Say hello, as does Chris Page. Paul Rhodes says, evening all, just watched Hull v Blackburn. Dylan Phillips saved 2 penalties, which nobody saw coming. Hold on. Richard says, evening, that's 2 unbeaten. Phillips and Noel Jordan. We have Eric Hawley from the Philippines with us tonight. Thank you for being with us. Stephen Mick says, thanks to the recent heads up, I'm just enjoying an orange cream egg. Sorry, is it a bit early for chocolate chat? Absolutely not. Scott Kent says, get Barca v Madrid on. Make absolutely crazy first half. 2-2, half-time, 3 goals in stoppage time in the first half, which is a bit of chaos that I like to see. Andrew Barlow, Nick Newson, good evening. Yeah, third round weekend. Obviously, we don't get involved in third round weekend because that's Tim Pop behaviour. But yeah, good weekend of football all round, and well done to Macclesfield Town for. It's not even Macclesfield Town anymore, is it? It's just Macclesfield FC. So well done to them for that ridiculously enjoyable upset on Saturday lunchtime, whenever it was. Saturday at some point. This is how this show is going to be. We've got nothing to talk about, so I'm going to fill by saying words wrong, which will kill time. It kills more time than when you say things wrong when we get close to an hour. Obviously, the postponement. The game was off yesterday, mid-morning postponement. A bit of a surprise because the forecast originally was after the freeze in the midweek, the weekend should have been all right, but it was, well, certainly where I am in Swinton, it was a frost descended on Saturday morning. So as soon as you looked out that window on Saturday morning, you're kind of thinking, good chance this is going to be off. His mute button is stuck and broken.
It's not stuck and broken. I'm stuck and broken.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to be coughing in everybody else's ears. Yeah. That's what it is. So as soon as we got up, you knew that way it was inevitable, weren't it? It was the ground were rock solid. Listen, I still think that Matt Amshaw's got to be blamed for it. I think that goes without saying. He could have done more to get it on. And Tony Stewart as well. I think, he's the thing is with this, the efforts that Tony Stewart put into getting this game on are just laughable. I'm embarrassed, quite frankly. But what can you do? It's we've got to live with it, haven't we?
And that's where, Dan, if anybody gets annoyed by Mick's little bait there, you need to do better. If somebody gets wound up by that, you need to do better.
I haven't started on what Paul Douglas didn't do to get this game on either yet. So I thought I'd save that one a bit later on. But listen, if you want to get on, I'm happy to discuss Paul Douglas's involvement or non-involvement, as it's probably better described in getting this game put on.
I half hope that somebody takes the bait and we see it on Twitter later on, but I'll be disappointed whoever it is. Yeah, Gary says Ham sure survives another game. Ben, do you want to just put some bait out there about how Tin Pot Bradford are, or are we just going to let him have? Just going to say fair play. Bear we had a game called off a week ago for the same thing.
No, I'll let Mick take all the heat on Twitter. I'll take a sit back for this one.
Yeah. That's
Cheers, mate.
That's helpful. But it's good news, though. But really, in realistic terms, for Rotherham United, it is good news. We get another week where there's no games, so players don't get injured again. The players that are injured should be a week closer to coming back. And also, we hopefully, in theory, I think Tony's back from his cruise this week, so we might actually get some signings done, which would be interesting, which should be a bonus.
We're a professional football club, and there's some of the reasons you've just listed.
I know.
It's a joke, honestly. Another week where players can't get injured. I mean, Jesus wept. They're going to get injured in 3 weeks' time anyway. If we're going to get injured, they're going to get injured. It's all right, yeah, because it's another weekend we don't lose. It's not. I don't think it's good for the players. I wouldn't like having 1 week off, let alone 2, however many days it is.
We played New Year's Day, so by the time we play a competitive game in Stockport, what's that, the 18th? So we're almost 2.5 weeks.
17 days. I mean, that's a long time for a sports person, an elite sports person. It's a long time. I don't think it's good.
Okay.
But I mean, it can't get worse. So the performance can't get worse. So I mean, we've got to try something. The football gods are absolutely trying to give us everything they've got to try and make us better, because they're trying something. I don't know. I never think breaks in the season help. I think they are. I think they're more counterproductive than productive. Granted, it's not on purpose, but I don't think it will help.
Fair enough. What's your take on it, Danny? Because I was thinking about this before we started recording, and I think Ben's probably right that I don't recall us ever having an enforced break and it going well. I think back particularly to the COVID season where we had 2 or 3 enforced breaks because of COVID, and the first 2 or 3 games back, it wasn't right, and that happened a few other times under Warney, particularly. On paper, it's good because of the reasons I mentioned, but players are like engines. You need to keep using them for a kind of thing, for them to be tuned up kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm on the same side of the coin as Ben. I mean, not only will your overall fitness take a hit, but also your match sharpness as well if you've not played for best part of a fortnight. But, it happens to most clubs. I mean, I find as a club that actually picked up after an enforced break, you'll be counting on your fingers. You won't have to have anything on a spreadsheet. It must be no more than a handful. But it kind of feels like it's a good thing because of the run we were on. But I think overall it's a bad thing because sometimes you can play your way out of bad form, whereas now we've had an enforced break whilst also having bad form. So there's even more pressure on getting out of it now with an added hindrance. And I mean, if the game against Huddersfield goes ahead on Tuesday, then, we could get an absolute clattering because they're not any mugs in this EFL trophy now. It's quarterfinals. So that could be a confidence knock again, or, we could play out of it, but it's just no fun, Well, we're unbeaten in 2 weeks. That's something, isn't it?
3 weekends, 3 Saturdays in a row, mate. Unbeaten. So, Daniel says, was in the Angel having a pint before heading off the coach. He says, kind of celebrated when I found it. I saw some people on Twitter saying they were already on a train to Bradford. So those ones were probably celebrating less. From an off-field perspective, Mick, again, to try and put a positive light on it, positive spin on it, it's probably, bearing in mind where the fan base are, where we are as fans at the minute, and where the players and the club is at the minute, maybe this time away from each other will probably be a good thing. Had we played against Mansfield and lost, it'd have been toxic. Had we played against Bradford and lost healthily, it'd have probably been quite toxic. By the time we play Stockport, maybe things have settled down a little bit. I don't know. I'm maybe clutching at straws a little bit there, but time and space away from a toxic relationship is sometimes a good thing.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely, it is. It doesn't remove the toxicity, though, does it? Really, ultimately.
Probably not.
So, I don't necessarily agree with Ben's assessment. To be honest, for the fit players, yes, I accept that. You lose a bit of match sharpness and you lose a bit of maybe a bit of fitness because training is going to have been a difficult process as well, given the weather, particularly the frost, really. But what it does do is allows us to get players who were close to fitness back to fitness. Match fitness is another matter altogether, but it gives us some names for the team sheet, which is crucial. It's absolutely crucial. So it's going to benefit us. But yeah, whether it's going to make any difference, look, the moaners will still moan, the happy clappers will still clap. I don't think that will alter between the last game and the next game on Tuesday night or Stockport on Saturday, whatever it is. We'll still be in the same boat. Not see anything happening in the transfer window at all before Saturday next week. I hope I'm wrong, but I just can't see it happening. I'd be surprised if anything happens, to be honest with you, this month. I would, the way that the information that's come out of the football club tends to suggest to me that you've got what you've got, kid. I hope I'm wrong. But yeah, I don't know whether it's going to do us any good or not. I don't think it is in terms of the relationship between the supporters and the football club at the moment. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am.
Nick Newsom says, I read Bristol Rovers are going heavy into the transfer market, so expect some outgoings this week. That'd be good.
That's a surprise.
All will be forgiven if Evans takes Raggett and Kelly and others. That'd be good. Because Paige says, I hope any loss isn't down to we've not been playing. Well, exactly. That's then the opposite side of the coin. Harry says, what are you on about, Mick? We've already signed Watmore and one, and we had one only done last week. Yeah, done deal. Ben, you were on the last episode. I was talking transfers, the Duncan Watmore situation. I'm interested in Ben's take on this one because I'm interested in his take on a lot of things. The story goes that it was a done deal in December, but then a few days later he turned us down to stay at Sheffield Wednesday to train. Even played a B team game at Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday have now turned round and said that they don't want to sign him anymore. And the rumour is that he now wants to come back and sign for Rotherham United. We were all in pretty much agreement that we would be very, very tempted to tell him to do one, bearing in mind the circumstances. Where do you sit on that? Well, saga's not the right word to make it sound interesting, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean we're hardly in a position to be picking and choosing. I think if we were in any other situation than we are now, I think it'd be, I wouldn't want that person in my squad, somebody like that. I wouldn't want that kind of person in my squad. But I mean, it's that fine line, innit, of having probably a bad apple in your squad or keeping your job because we might go down. It's that fine balance of playing the game and playing the manager game. I won't sign him. No, I mean, not after he said he wants to stay there.
Are we being a bit bitter there, Danny, because it's Wednesday? If this was Oxford or something like that, are we just saying this because it's Sheffield Wednesday, or is it more the fact that he said no to go to a club in an absolute mess?
I'm personally no, because I know there's obviously a local rivalry with Sheffield Wednesday, but I don't understand the animosity towards.
Don't call it a rivalry, Danny.
Not a rivalry.
People, I didn't say local rivalry geographically. I'll put an asterisk on that. But in terms of the whole rivalry of, we don't want their rejects, this, that, and the other, I don't really understand it, because unless he's a Sheffield Wednesday fan, I'm not really fussed because it's the fact that he's turned us down once, then gone to a different club, and then gone, is the door still open? When really we should be saying, no, if you want to go and play for them, go for it. So for me, it doesn't really make a distance. It could be Wednesday, Blackburn, Sunderland, Oxford, whoever. If he's had the chance to come here and he said, no, I want to go and train with this team, and then that team said no, and then he's gone, oh, is the opportunity still there? Then I'm with Ben. No, I don't want that sort of character in the squad. It'd do more harm than good, I think.
Yeah, I think it would. It seems like one of those guys that say, well, I want to play in Championship. Well, you don't want to play in Championship for any reason necessary. Why would you want, again, with the nicest will in the world, why would you sign for Sheffield Wednesday right now? Other than the fact that they are a Championship club in name, it makes no sense to me, really. They won't be offering more money than we will at this stage because of the circumstances.
The only thing you can think of is a training ground, because Sheffield Wednesday have not got Tottenham style training ground, but it's better than us. You know what I mean? It must be there. You know what I mean? That's the only thing you can think of. But
I have this conversation with Wednesday fan yesterday. Craig Holly said it's a job at the end of the day. If he wants to play at the highest level, that's fair enough. And it absolutely is. But again, you've got to bear in mind the circumstances. And we talked about this in the Championship when we were in Sheffield Wednesday's situation. Why would anybody want to go and play for Rotherham United in that January window? Why would anybody want to come and sign for you? Unless you're Charlie White, who's desperate to play at any level. Sariki, who was just a child, basically. And Rina Mota, who, again, just wanted to get some minutes in the belt and he couldn't get them anywhere else. Why would you want to go there just to say, oh, I'm in Championship? It's like these players who won't drop from Premier League to Championship because I want to play for a Premier League club, even a rubbish one. I don't get it. I don't like it. And it stinks a bit of arrogance. Having said that, if he signs and he's good, I'll forgive him because that's how football works. Scott Kent said, just want to stay in the Championship, didn't he? Try perform and get noticed. Yeah, again, we've seen our players get noticed in teams like Rotherham United when you're bottom of the league, going and get relegated and record points totals. Moving on, because we don't have any other transfer rumours to talk about. But we have a game to talk about briefly, Mick. The Virtue Trophy. It's the last 16. So what are we? 3 wins away from Wembley as it stands. Away at Huddersfield was probably the hardest draw around, other than maybe Stockport away. For me, you've got to be taking this as seriously as possible because we haven't played. If we played Saturday, I'd probably feel quite different about it. But I agree with Ben about the kind of rustiness and players need to play. Go strongest 11. Play them an hour. Make all your substitutions on the hour mark. Just get some minutes in the belt. If it comes off, it comes off. If it don't, we lose and we go out. That's not in the will. But it needs to be full intensity, full strength to going into the Stockport game Saturday for me.
It's a crucial game. It's a crucial game now because we've had these two called off as well. We're on a shocking run of form. We've been really, really poor performance-wise, and we've got 2 games called off. Hopefully, we've got some players back. This is a game now where, more than any other time in this competition, it's about getting some minutes in legs. But now, it's about getting some minutes into first-team players' legs rather than, lads coming up through academy or whatever, or fringe players, whatever you want to call it. So it's a crucial game. Ultimately, the result will be great. It'd be fantastic to get through. But this now more than any other game this season has to be about performance levels. What effort are we going to put in? What effort are you players who've been underperforming going to put into this game? Because the ones with testicles between the legs need to stand up and be counted now, don't they? And the ones who haven't got the stomach for the fight, and I've talked about this with supporters as well. Players, supporters, if you've not got the stomach for the fight, don't bother turning up. We're in a situation now where we're absolutely hamstrung because of injuries, because of lack of investment, if you want to call it that, in the playing squad. We really are under the cosh. Absolutely. Some reasons within our control, other reasons outside our control. Who's up for it? And Tuesday night is an opportunity for the players who are up for it to show that. So yeah, in that respect, I think it's an important game.
Yeah. Careful asked about Spence. Seems to have dropped off radar. Do you know how close he is a return on Miles? The little bit you've heard were really negative. about Kane Spence from I'm sure. So I suspect he's a way off. We don't know. He seemed the long-term injuries kind of get forgotten about in the press conferences a little bit, and he seems to be one that seems to be forgotten about. But the Virtual Trophy, Ben, is one of those competitions you take from it. I mentioned this after the Salford one and a couple of other games. You take from it what you can, what you want. And for me, this is about performance. I think Huddersfield probably won't take it as seriously because they've just come away from Stockport, where they would have had to give a lot to almost get a point out of that game. So it's a good opportunity to get through. But at the end of the day, I agree with Harry's comment. Hampshire is under pressure as well. So as much as he definitely won't get sacked, if we lose, he'll want to show the fans something. It's about showing us something after the run we've been on, even if it's a loss. It's giving us something to give positive about.
Hampshire can't play, If he's got 4 senior players in the entire squad that actually want to play football, which is what it looks like at the minute, well, what can he do? He can't play himself. I don't know what he can do to show the fans something, because he play a load of kids that want to play and don't play. You know what I mean? I agree with it. Yeah, he should be showing something, but he's a manager. He can't play. He's going to get his boots on. He's not much he can do from the sidelines. Once you put your team out, it's on them. It's on the players. I mean, some of these players, Jesus, how their pride is not taking a hit after week, because some of these people don't even deserve to be on a wage. And I don't know how some of these players are looking themselves in the mirror after some of these performances, because Jesus, it's so bad. It's so bad, some of it. These players that need to show something, not I'm sure as much.
Yeah, I agree with that, Ben. But then where do you go from there, Ben? Because you can't sack the players. You can try and get rid of them, but the wages are obviously ridiculous.
This is a different conversation. Well, it's a different conversation because it's a long-term thing. I mean, you look how much there's some players at this club that should never be at this club. They shouldn't even be playing football. They should be working in a warehouse somewhere because they can't play football. I have to admit, it is some of the level of football I've seen since I've got back. Wow, it has been terrible, and nobody can tell me otherwise. Nobody.
Oh yeah,
guys don't.
But as a manager, you still got to try and get the best out of them. So how does Hampshire go about doing that?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Good thing I'm not a football manager. My job doesn't depend on it, innit? Because I have no idea. That's why the manager's so hard. That's why managers get sacked every week. I don't know. He's just got to play the game. I don't know what he can do, because he has made some mistakes with some of the. Because he brought in a Tete, so he's made some mistakes. Because he's brought a couple of these players in, but I don't know what he can do, because he's got a lot of rubbish players. And what can you do? Because who would you pick? What are you going to do? Everyone thinks that they're going to go in and do this gladiator team talk and everyone's going to get motivated. It's not how it works. They're grown men. At the end of the day, they're going to do what they want. And if they don't want to play for you, or they can't be asked, they're not going to play. That's more of a long-term question, I think, rather than a short-term question, in terms of what he's going to do about it. Because what can he do?
But it's a mixture, though, isn't it? Because if he doesn't sort it out short-term, we are in League Two. It's kind of as simple as that, really.
Yeah, but I mean,
the short term, they're kind of together, aren't they?
I know, but what can he do? Because you look at all these external circumstances. He has been hung out to dry since the moment he took the job, and what you know what I mean. You've got to sort of expect this when you take the job, because you look at the circumstances. I don't know what he can do. Win. How you do that? Don't know. Just try and win.
That's the kind of insight we normally bring to this podcast, but I appreciate you keeping up the standard. I like it very much. Rob Dixon says Hampshire are alienated players he needs because of injury. He thinks he's showing his experience. Andrew Barlow says, name them, Ben. No,
I don't want to do that. Everybody watches Rotherham United. Everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think we all agree with you. As Paul says, don't sugar the pill there. David Carroll thinks you are correct as well. Robbo says some players constantly let the managers down. We've got senior players that know leaders. He picks out Raggett and Kelly for the waste of money. Alex James says there's a group of players that were established with till the summer, whereas we can't pay them all off. That's the issue. Chucking 2-year deals at high dross wages. Paul with you as well. God, you're a chicken, Andrew. When it's weird because when Ben left, we had a lot of Ben haters around, and now it's the thing that people have been missing. The rest of them back. But it is a serious question there, because kind of after the New Year's Day game, Matt Hamshaw really went into the players, and the club, to be honest. But he really did. He didn't name them publicly, but he really did kind of say some of these players don't want to be here. Some of these players have got their heads turned, kind of thing. It's going to be interesting to see how that kind of plays out from there, because that's a long way back. Those players who he's referencing will know they are being referenced. I think humans aren't stupid. You know if they're talking about you. So it's going to be interesting to see how the players come back from that, and how Hamshaw comes back from that. Because Ben's right. He's stuck with him. He's got to deal with him one way or another.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think the particular players that we all know who they are, but not naming names, won't be the ones to leave in January either. They'll be the ones that we're stuck with until the contracts run out. Because the ones that leave in January are the ones that A, have to sell, or B, somebody else is silly enough to actually take offers. Or we get silly money for one of them or something. But no, like you said, the players who Hamshaw is referencing discreetly know about it, because no doubt he will have had some sort of conversation in training with certain players that we'll probably never know about, unless someone is able to fly a drone that's got a microphone on it into Roundwood, but that's never going to happen. We'll just never know, but those players will know. But then it's also down to them, as if so they can either go down two paths. They can either go, oh well, he's referencing me, I'm clearly out of favour, why do I bother turning up? Or they can go down the route of, oh, I'm not pulling my weight here, I need to get myself back on track and play themselves back into the team, or try much better. That they're two routes. But I think a lot of the players will go down the, oh, sod this, I'm not going to bother, and then they'll just float the way through until the contract runs out, and then see where else they can go. There's no denying that our out of contract list is huge for the summer, which may get bigger depending on which league we're in. But it may be a blessing in disguise, because a lot of the players on that list are also the players that don't turn up at the minute. But then, is the summer too late? That's the main question. As it feels right now, that little it's not even a jab from Hamshaw, really. It's just stating the obvious. Is to try and get more money out of the board to get new players in that may improve us, but then the whole caveat of who's coming to us, unless they're really like, yeah, I'm going to get them out of the relegation fight, it's going to be me. And then hopefully get some players back in amongst the form. But I don't know, there's a little tinge of media inexperience from Hamshaw leaking through, as there was with Paul Warne in his early days as well. But he was able to learn on that and actually come across in a better manner to the media. Whereas with Hamshaw, it's the wrong time to be doing it, if that makes sense. It's like we're in a hole anyway, but he's sort of dug another hole in the hole and then put the players in the club in that hole that he's not stood in currently. And so it's like, do we really need to be hearing that whilst we're already down in the dumps? Potentially not, but we are where we are.
It's interesting that, Danny. It's interesting because there's a couple of points on that, and it kind of links into Tom's comment here about Hamshaw being on borrowed time, slagging the board off with his deep-rooted issues comment, plus alienating the players, making it clear they're not wanted. It's doing that. We know that there are deep-rooted issues at the board, so he's not saying anything different that we already know. We know that players are out of contract. We know that the players are not his. We know that the players are not playing for him, because it's quite obvious that some of the players are not turning up. And we're also asking for a bit of clarity and transparency from club. So what Hamshaw's doing there is exactly that. He's not only giving us transparency and telling us what's happening at the club. He's confirming what we already know anyway. So I kind of, you can't have it both ways. You can't say we want to know what's going off at club. We think there's some deep-rooted issues and players are not playing. And then when the manager comes out and says there's some deep-rooted issues at club, we're criticising.
We didn't criticise him for that, did we? We didn't criticise him for deep-rooted issues. The question is on the player. What is it about the players?
Well, the players that's a different issue, though, isn't it? Altogether,
yeah.
The players, and if players are behaving like that because of a conversation that's been had that, you know, we're going to be looking to offload you, then the players need to take a long hard look at themselves, because that is just it's remarkable behaviour, really, and they just need to strap a pair on. But again, it's the same sort of thing, isn't it? You know, it's the same sort of attitude to life, to sport, to jobs, to whatever. If somebody criticises a certain type of person, bat and ball goes home and they all start sulking and crying and going running to mummy. And that seems to be what we're doing here. Instead of growing up and strapping a pair on and getting on with your job, we go crying to whoever will listen to us. Grow up. You've got a job. You're getting paid a hell of a lot of money. A hell of a lot of money. Far more money than any of those people that walk through the turnstiles on a Saturday afternoon. Far more. And if you've got the audacity as a football player to say, I'm not really wanted here, so I'm not. If you've got that audacity, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be absolutely ashamed of yourself. That's my view.
Fair enough.
And it's a fact. I'm not saying it's an opinion. It's a fact.
On Tom's point about the pointed comment to the Deepwood issues, I mean, nobody at club really noticed, so I won't worry about that. I think Hampshire was. I think he was trying to make a point. I think he said it on purpose to try and get a reaction from some at the football club, and nobody clearly noticed about it. It's clearly gone over everybody's head or whatever.
Which further proves his point.
Yeah, exactly. Martin Burns says, the manager, you can imagine the annoyance of getting answers like we had from Paul Douglas.
Yeah, but on that as well, like if you put so much effort into something, for example, for 7 months, you put so much effort into something, and and people are just letting you down constantly. You're a human being. Everyone's got a breaking point. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's a human being at the end of the day, and if you put so much time and effort into something, so much, you care so much about something, and people are just BSing the way through it. I mean, that is you've got to be a special human being to not get annoyed at that.
Yeah, I agree. Tom Swift says, but why do you sign injury-prone players with known issues like Bear and Clare? Now we're stuck with players who...
I didn't realise either of them had known issues.
Well, two things. I think, I know collectively, I think Clare had known issues. Bear less so. But the other reason it's quite a simple reason, Tom. We had no money to spend on anybody else. Because somebody else put in the comments earlier that 6 players are taking up £2 million with the wage budget, and the budget's about £5 million. So, and these are 6 players they didn't want. So he's had to sign players. He's had to take risks on Denzel Hall and Martha and all these other players because he's stuck with the crap he's had before, which is not his fault.
At least he's taking a risk on players of quality because they are both quality footballers. They may not be fit at the moment, but once they are fit, they are quality players. Not taking a risk on poor quality. Let's just put it that way. Let's not crap players like we took a risk on last season, who then also are injured, a la Johnson Clark Harris, a la Sean Raggett, etc., etc., etc. And paying stupid wages. So, nah.
Yeah, it's the way you can't get. I feel like repeating ourselves, and I'm sure people listen to this while they're saying the same thing over and over again. So I'm wary that we're going to try and stop repeating ourselves because I can't think of it worse than listen to a podcast that's the same thing over and over again. So apologies, but you can't take away from the wage issues. The budget's been cut, but we're still having to pay significant players from last year. What's he meant to do? We can't. Those wages have got to be taken into account, which means he can't spend the same wages on somebody else. It's sadly how it's working.
With those players as well, they will have taken a wage cut in going into League One as well.
Well, only Hugo would have done. There's only Hugo that's still around.
Yeah, so some of them do have wage reductions if we do get relegated, and they're still one of the top earners at the football club as well. So that says to me, new players that we signed are on absolute threatens, but also how much were some of these players on whilst we were in the Championship? If they've got a wage cut and are still earning $8,000 a week as the highest earner at the football club. I mean, all right, fair enough. You took a wage cut and he's actually turned up when we've needed him in terms of being match fit. Fair enough, but with other players, it's like, how much do you want? Because I'm used to Rotherham never pushing above 10k a week. 10k a week is like for a star signing at our level. That's how I remember it. Whereas now we seem to have pushed the boat out, signed Crocs. And now we're in League One in a position where it's just like, it's biting us in the arse now. And any new signings that we've got aren't on that much wage and are potentially on appearance-based transfer fees to the clubs we signed them from. That's a huge come down one way of putting it from how we were before. Like, all right, fair enough. We've not exactly spaffed money on players. Nombe was our first £1 million player, but the majority of that came from Huddersfield buying Ben Wiles offers. So we haven't really had that much output from that in terms of spending, but it all just seems to go on wages, and half of the players don't play. It's like, wow, that needs sorting out fairly quickly.
Yeah, Chris Pace's last podcast, he said agent fees are probably killing the game. Yeah, I certainly agree with that. Andrew mentioned Nombe was in the Championship, but I don't think his wages are. Well, I know his wages aren't anywhere near Hugo's, for example. Tom says they aren't quality players. Martha turns up 1 in 10. Looks like, you pick Martha out, but Coletta's he's a really good player. Agber's great what we've seen. Devil Hall's great from what we've seen. Baptiste is great, although he's alone from what we've seen. We could go about a few other players that have been really good signings in the summer. We can talk about fitness issue, that's fine, but they are very, very good players for the ones that we've seen so far. Before we move on, we are about halfway through the show. Make sure you've liked the video, first of all, if you haven't done so already. I can see well over 100 of you watching live on YouTube, so make sure all of you have given the video a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed as well, because those numbers keep gradually going up and up and up. So thank you very much for those people that have stuck with us through what has been a terrible bit of football. Scott Kent says, from a list of players out of contract players, he said to me the other day, all the ones we would keep Baps on a permanent and go if possible. We are going to go through that. We're going to go through a few of the contract list in a second to I'll be honest, to kill some time, because right now we're done. But we're going to go through this. Rob Dixon says, you're in cuckoo land, Mick. If your manager called you out and you wouldn't go above and beyond for them, you wouldn't lift a leg, Mick.
Nah, not buying that. I wouldn't go crying to my mum because my manager had said I weren't very good at my job or he didn't want me. What I would do is prove to him that I am good at my job, assuming that I enjoy my job. So assuming if it's me, I'm a footballer and I enjoy playing football, I'd be the first thing I would do is be proving him wrong. Absolutely, 100%. I won't be crying to flipping supporters or crying to my mum or my agent or anybody else and taking me bat and ball home.
Yeah, but can you just say as well?
Because I'm an adult.
It's not like it's not like they've been perfect pros, done everything right, and then called them out. They've obviously been bad people and been disrespectful by not turning up to training and doing the right thing. So it's not like they're doing everything perfect and getting called out for no reason. Yeah,
we mentioned this against Matt Taylor when Matt Taylor did after the Millwall game. The difference was he was talking about Dan Barlasser and Chiro Bennett and players like that who had been wonderful footballers for this football club who having obviously a bad time. The difference for me now is that I'm just saying this about a bunch of players that barely any of them performed at all. So I suppose there is a difference in terms of the players that we're talking about in there.
The other thing I would say is in terms of that kind of thing, Steve Evans has made a career out of dealing with players in that fashion and getting the best out of them by doing that, And all of a sudden, those players that they couldn't get anything out of last season whatsoever get a completely different coach because I don't think there can't be any discussion or any doubt about the fact that Steve Evans is on one side of the spectrum and Matt Amshaw, Paul Warne, etc., are completely the opposite kinds of manager. I don't think that's a controversial thing in any way. And yet, neither of them can get a tune out of some of these players. So there's something wrong somewhere in the line. And arguably, and I can't believe I'm saying this, it might not be Steve Evans or Matt Amshaw.
No, true. Some points out Matt Taylor didn't want Woody, but it didn't stop Woody doing his best, coming back into the team and keeping it
absolutely up. And that's exactly the point, Nick. That's the type of attitude. That's the type of attitude to life, to work, to your job that seems to have just gone. Nobody's interested. Taking the money, I'll bugger off.
Yeah,
I'll bugger off.
Tom Swift under Evans. I feel like we're going over our ground here, Tom. But under Steve Evans, we were not 4 or 5 points off yet. Malik Wilkes was on a different line. Sam Nombe was constantly fit last year. If you have Malik Wilkes and Sam Nombe in your squad, you should actually be pushing for the playoffs. They're two of the best players at League One level. That's why we aren't there. Matt Amshaw's not had Sam Nombe fit and available. He doesn't have a Malik Wilkes type player at the football club. We're comparing apples and oranges here. I don't think we should be. Don't think we should be comparing. But there we are. Right, we're going to move on to some questions We don't do predictions for the Virtue Trophy, although we might start taking it seriously if we get through to quarterfinals. Right, Mick, this one's for you because I don't have anything on this one. This was from Simon on Twitter yesterday. Yesterday marked the 10-year anniversary of David Bowie's passing. Each pick a song from Bowie for your pre-match playlist. That's sadly beyond me. And I can help with that one.
No, you have to get wrong person.
I assume Ben's not a Bowie fan. I don't know, Ben.
David Bowie.
Yeah.
What's the one with Queen? Under Pressure.
Yeah, that's a Queen song, yeah.
Yeah, but he's got David Bowie on it, hasn't he?
I don't know.
I think it was co-wrote by Freddie Mercury and David Bowie, I think.
Yeah, so I'll take an apology, please, Matt.
But there's two different songs that you're talking about.
What? Under Pressure by David Bowie and Queen.
Mick, save this show.
For me, there's so many, like Starman and Heroes and all that, but Ziggy Stardust, I think, is probably my favourite Bowie song.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, they are right. Well, you are right, Ben. I apologise. That's all you're getting. That's the only apology you're getting this year. So savour it, because you won't get another one. Stephen Mick saying Heroes. Scott King going Starman.
There's some legs in this. There's some legs in this subject. Maybe not. You know, it doesn't just necessarily have to be Bowie. You can move it on. But the man was a musical legend, an absolute legend.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that. I can't. I wouldn't even dream of disputing that, Mick.
No.
Unlike some of your other musical choices, which we will disagree on all night long.
I saw something today that said something along the lines of Radiohead is for people who are too afraid to ask for ketchup at McDonald's. And I didn't really get what it meant, but it just, I don't know. Okay. See, Darren Cook's got one there, absolute beginners. Yeah.
Up again. Since I've changed my laptop, occasionally it puts thumbs up when I move my hands. It's really strange. Michael Miller, man who fell to earth.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, I don't know anymore. I'm sticking with Ziggy.
Okay, fine, fair enough. That's
Gordon.
Go on.
Mick the Laughing Gnome. First of all, how did you know I was smaller than everybody else? And two, all I'm going to say to you, Gordon, I don't know how old you are. If you're similar age to me, with a name like that, Jilted John, I'll leave that one with you.
Sorry.
Gordon was a moron. It was this song. Sorry, Gordon. Okay. Joking.
But this section of the show is obviously for the younger listeners.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Right, the next couple of questions. If anyone wants to throw some questions, throw in their comments, and we'll get fun ones, serious ones, silly ones. We will go through it. Right, let's go through. We had loads of questions, but this is from Ian Frost. At the end of the current season, which players' contracts are up, and is there anything that should be renewed? There is a very, very, very long list of players that are available for free transfers in the summer out of the football club. Right. I'm going to steal Nick the Fisher's list on Twitter because I could do my own list, but somebody else has already done it for me, so why would I? First one up, Cam Dawson, Danny. Cam Dawson, again, will probably be a reasonable earner, especially for a goalkeeper. Stay or go away, I don't know. I think something would rather stay.
Stay or renew, shall we say that?
Bin.
Keep or bin?
Yeah, keep or bin, I like that. Personally, bin. I don't think he's shown enough for us to keep him on this season, certainly. He is a good goalkeeper in his time, don't get me wrong. He's a good shot stopper when push comes to shove. But I think there's just better and younger options out there that we can actually develop into very decent goalkeepers, i.e. Victor Johansson. I'm not saying Lightning's going to strike twice, but we can certainly try.
He's not coming back, Danny.
No, I would say bin for Dawson.
Yeah, I think I would. Harry sums up. Bin, average keeper, can definitely find, but I don't mind Cam Dawson at all. I just think you need to be doing better in terms of our recruitment. Ben?
Go on.
Sound. I also don't like the way he shouts at everybody, literally everybody. You just don't see that from good goalkeepers, do you? There's when a goal goes in, he's all constantly having to go at everybody else. But yeah, actually, probably how many probably want to get rid of the summer, but no one was going to take. I think that's same for a lot of people. Alex, I think it's unanimous in the comments that Cam Dawson is binned, unfortunately for Cam. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Jordan Hugel is up next, Mick. We should have said this last, to be honest. I think this will create the biggest conversation. But Mick, Jordan Hugel, keep or bin?
I'm going to be mercenary about this. His wages are too high, and he's not scoring goals, and that's what he's here for. Bin.
Okay. I would say keep, but it would have to be on a quarter of the wages he's on now, literally like a quarter, maybe even less than that. If he's willing to take a significant pay cut, and I mean like super significant, I would keep him. If his wages are anywhere near what they are now, I think it's a waste of money, unfortunately. Ben?
Mate, that's not even a question. I can't even believe that's a question. You know my opinion on Jordan Hugel. Sure, he's a lovely guy and he's played through a lot of pain, but Jesus. No.
Danny?
No disrespect, but no, he won't be getting a renewal off me.
Danny?
No, I agree. No disrespect. He's put in a huge shift this season and made himself available when a lot of players weren't, but purely based on what he's on currently and the amount of quality out there that's a lot younger, unless he takes a very significant wage cut, he's going to have to be a bin. Bin with honours, we'll say, for Jordan Hugel. Bin with honours.
Yeah. Nick News says I'm in the massive minority in this one. I've got Andrew on my side, Chris with me as well.
Paula will be. I'm sure she will. Yeah, I don't know if she said that, but I'm sure she will be.
Exactly. There's something in Hugel that would be a useful player for somebody. Where that is and how it is, I don't know, but there is something left in the old boy, I think.
That Steve Bracknell keeps looking for a striker. I've seen him on Instagram.
True.
He might have him.
That's true. Nick was still a minority. I think it's a good minority. I like my group that I've been given. I'll stick with it. Right. I think this one, there's another one we'll probably, I don't know, I'll stop saying that because I thought about Hugel. Joe Rafferty, Danny. Keep or bin?
That's a difficult one.
Certainly wrong side of 30.
Wrong side of 30, but we play
33 this year, we.
Yeah, but we play a wing back system, so he's not in the running full back position, shall we say. Keep for a year contract if he'll accept it, I'll say.
Yeah. Rob Dixon with the positives. Keep. He'll be okay in League Two. Yeah, that is a really difficult one for me, mate, because I agree with Harry. He's the only person who thinks a leader on the pitch. He is a leader, but I'm not confident. In the nicest way possible, I think football's almost passed him by. He's not quick enough to be a modern-day fullback. He's not probably good enough to be a modern-day centre-half. I don't really know where he fits in at the minute.
I would keep him.
Okay.
I think he's a highly experienced player. I think he's a leader, and I think he can fill in at centre-half. I want him in and around the squad. He seems we've spoken to him, he seems quite engaged and on board with what...
Committed
and on board with what Matt Amshaw's trying to do. I would keep him.
Fair enough. Obviously, I imagine, Ben, this is coming off your opinions most of last season, because the games you watched this year, he hasn't been here. Playing. What's your take on Raf?
No, I'd move him on.
Okay. Simple as that.
I've seen him give, obviously, a lot of his last season and a couple this season. I think I've seen him give more goals away this season than passes completed. So, for me, no. Okay,
that's fair enough. Next on my list is...
And I can just say as well, I think a lot of these as well, regardless of, he probably he'd be a good player in League Two. He's part of that.
Yeah.
Lingering old smell. It just doesn't help that he has been a part of that.
Yeah, I agree, and I think lingering old smell is a great point. When Matt Taylor came in, Matt Taylor left. Sorry, and we kind of kept half of his staff around. It is a bit of a lingering thing, which I think we need a fresh cut from. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think this one, I'm not even convinced we need to have a conversation about Raggett. Do we need to have a conversation?
No.
It's a shame. It's a shame, but it's.
It'll be Bristol Rovers hopefully by end of January.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I think, hey, listen, fingers crossed for him as well, because it might kickstart his kickstart's probably not the right word. It might get him some game time. Yeah.
I think the Turbo was asking about Rafferty. Well, I'm not going to come to the second part because we've covered that and we will cover it again. And this is not kind of a conversation we're having at the minute, but Rafferty, I think that's in reference to what's he leading?
He's a leader on the pitch.
No, I agree with that. Someone said that he's a leader in his experience, mate. Leave it out. I don't see it at all. I don't see it at all. Genuinely, just because you've got a loud mouth don't make you a leader. You've got to back it up with something. I
would say out of the current of the squad, he has the most leadership attributes out of the squad. In all the other team, he won't be captain, but in our team, he's sort of the best one of the bunch.
Which leaders do you see, Ben, if any? Oh, again, it's this sample size is a really bad sample size.
I don't see any.
Okay.
I don't see any good captains in this squad that we've got right now.
Fair enough. That
started with Matt Taylor.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that started with Matt Taylor, and again, I can't believe I've done this twice in two podcast in the same podcast. To give Evans credit, he tried to bring in players who were leaders. Failed, but he tried. Yeah.
He did try. Next one. I'd stop predicting if this is going to split people. Zach Jules is next on my list. I know, Mick, you like Zach Jules a lot. He's one of the few that's at a reasonable age as well. I think he's probably mid 20s, 28 going into 29 in July. So when contract renewal comes up, he'll be 29. Where do you see for Zach Jules?
100% keeping. 100% keeping. Because out of the ones that we've got, I think he's probably the only one that could be a leader, because he will lead by example, like Mike's mentioned in the comments there. But no, 100% keep him.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I keep Jules, but there's a concern with injuries. He's been injured too much, so that would be if that's something we can resolve, I would definitely keep him. But he's been injured far too many times. Danny, what's your take on Jules?
I've been proven wrong with Jules, because when we signed him from Exeter, I believe it was, he kind of came with the rep of having a bit of an attitude problem. And when we signed him, we were like, oh no, here we go. But no, when he's been fit, he's actually been all right. I mean, obviously he's still got a bit of a head on him, but at the same time, he's the younger one of the centre halves we've got. And it's one that depends on what league we're in. I think if we're in League One, I'd try and keep him 100%, because we can sort of use him in the back line of if we bring younger players in, because he plays well with Baptiste, because it's the slightly older and slightly younger players. So he does have his positives. So yeah, if we can, I'd try and keep him on for a bit.
Yeah, so I think Jules Douglas and Baptiste is our best three at the back at the minute. So the chance to keep any of those three going into next year, I think I would. Ben, quickly.
Yeah, keep, definitely.
Joe Powell is next up. Next, Ben. I'm interested to see everybody's response to this, to be honest with you, because I know what my answer is. It's pretty black and white.
Well, I've obviously not seen the first half of the season. I don't think Powell's been as bad as everybody's saying. I do think he still runs a little bit. I don't think he's been as half-assed as everybody's saying. But he's definitely not be keeping him.
Fair enough. Nick?
Yeah. Get rid of him in January, see if we can get a fee for him, even if it's a small one. He has not produced, is the bottom line. And I'm sure he's a nice kid, and he's a hugely talented footballer. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt he is, but he is not producing for us. So
no,
get rid of him in January if we can get anything for him.
Yeah, Alex James says it wasn't his supposed to next Ben Pringle, and again to kind of defend Steve Evans, I can see why he thought that.
Yeah.
If you just, I imagine if you put Joe Powell's YouTube, you create a YouTube clip for Joe Powell, I bet it'd look fantastic.
Yeah.
I bet it'd look brilliant. A couple of assists in there. There's that goal he scored for Burton from miles out. The goal he scored for us, I think last year was a decent enough finish at Lincoln, although it was an open goal. I bet his YouTube clips are amazing. And his stats look amazing as well, by the way. If you look at his stats from last year, they're amazing. I didn't see that with my own eyes, but his stats were amazing. Danny, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't keep footballers based on YouTube highlights, do you? It's purely based on what he's done for us. I would say try and get a fee in January. If not, then, cheers, best of luck in the summer. Because he's just not performed enough for me.
No.
And he's been fairly consistent with injuries, but has still not really hit the ground running performance-wise. So, yeah, no, I wouldn't really put him in the same category as Bin with honours, but, yeah, just no. We need someone better, unfortunately. Better, more consistent. Yeah, we need someone consistent performances and with injuries, not just with injuries.
And to put a corner in same way, more put the same corner in 3 times in a row instead of just hitting first man, going too long, whatever.
Yeah, when we went to Doncaster, my mate, who was a Chef Wednesday fan, said to me, "Why is he on set pieces? It's shocking." And it's like, well, who else is there?
Yes. Well, there is more players, but we're going to end up somehow going long on tonight's show. I don't know how we've managed to do that, so I apologise for everybody, especially Mick. Sean McWilliams, Mick, is next up. I'd be keeping Sean McWilliams, but his injuries are a problem. But when Sean McWilliams is fit, I do like him a lot.
Gone. Bin for me. I'm not convinced that he's not one of these players that isn't interested anymore.
Fair enough. Okay, I'm being the one that's kind of unplaced now. Who saw that coming? Ben, again.
I need to know what we're him over a week, because if he's not injured, he's gone completely. But if he's injured, then keep.
Yeah, that performance. There were lots of issues. Lots seem to be concerned about against Peterborough, but I agree. Sean McWilliams' performance was a massive concern.
That's a big thing on his character. Which one? Because it could be it's massive swing either way, depending on what it is.
If we're injured, then it's
if he's injured, and he's played 90 minutes. Fair play to him. But if he's fit and he's done that, I'd mutual terminate, or if not, I'll pay him to get terminated.
You'll drive him.
Yeah. I'll drive him to his house to be a free agent.
Danny.
Patchy with injuries could potentially play himself into a new contract if he's unreal for the rest of the season. But again, with injuries, I'm gonna have to be ruthless and say bin him off.
Yeah, I think it was one of those that Steve Evans put a lot of weight through when he signed him, and then when he got injured constantly, I think that probably hurt Steve Evans' time because he never been able to do that job. I think he wanted him to be his Frecklington, and he just didn't stay fit enough for long enough for that to be the case. And also, he's nowhere near that level. We're not going to go through with youngsters because I don't think we've seen enough for him, so I don't think it's fair. So we've got 5 more players to go through. Some of these will be very easy. Reece James, though, Mick.
Yeah, I think Reece James for the time being is a keep, because that position is a really, really tough position to fill, and he's a hugely experienced player, and another one that seems to me to be committed to the cause. He's experienced, and therefore, in my head, and whether this is right or not, it doesn't strike me as being the kind of personality that's going to take his bat and ball home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He seems he's a kind of a Woody character in that he'll just graft. He'll get his head down and he'll graft. And it's a tough position, and he plays that position very, very well. So now I wouldn't be under any qualms about keeping Reece James.
Versatile as well. Can play left wing back, left centre half. I think he has played midfield as well. I'd keep Reece James. Danny? Reece James?
I'd keep him, but definitely try and strengthen that left-hand side in the summer. But like you say, he's versatile. He can play in basically one of the 3 positions. So if we keep him on, if he wants to stay, that is, then we can sort of work around trying to strengthen that position. Like I say, Woody character, we tried to strengthen centre half with Woody being here, but he was still the consistent performer. And yeah, I'd keep Reece James, bring a couple extra bodies in, younger players we can develop, but always I'd Reece James as that. Well, they're not doing the best, they're a bit out of form. We can put James in and he can do a job there. So yeah, keep him.
Yeah. Scott asks, are we keeping these League One and League Two? I have in my head League One, but I suppose it applies to both whether they stay up or go down, to be honest, for me. Are we all in agreement on that?
I think it makes any difference, to be honest.
No, so I think, yeah. This is wherever we are, I would go. Again, I think this is going to be pretty unanimous. Liam Kelly, is anybody keeping Liam Kelly?
Done.
In the bin with a pretty bow on it.
Give him a raise.
Give him a raise.
Yeah.
He will be 30. Oh, that's the wrong. I think that's the wrong Liam Kelly. I mean, there's quite a lot of Liam Kellys around, you know. I feel like we signed him when he was about 35 anyway. Is that not right? Would anyone like to correct me?
Was he 32, maybe?
Apparently he's 35.
Because there's a lot of Liam Kellys around. Is this why you were trying to tell me at one point that he was 6'2"?
I didn't say he was 6'2".
We had a conversation on this podcast, on this very podcast.
Oh well, yeah, he is 6'2".
Yeah.
According to Wikipedia.
Yeah, of course.
I'll be 36.
If he's 6'2", I can play in the NBA.
Exactly.
I don't know what to tell you. Unless somebody's doing up his Wikipedia for no apparent reason. Yeah, pretty unanimous as expected on that one. The kids that are out of contract are Hatton, Ayres, and McGuckin. McGuckin's got another bad injury from Eastleigh apparently, which has knackered him, unfortunately. So I think he'll go, but I hope he gets a good move to a top National League team or League Two. But that one will remain to be seen. Jack Holmes, anybody?
Gone.
No, had his chance, not grabbed it by the horns. Yeah. He'll be a good National League player just now. Yeah,
he's set himself up, hasn't he, to give himself a chance rather than being Stanford. So from that perspective, it's been good for him. But
he'd do well like a York City, for example. It'd be a good squad.
The best thing for him would be leave this window. I know you're going free. Go get yourself out this window. Whether it's on loan or permanent, go and get yourself out. Go and play some games for 6 months, and then go from there. Right, the next ones have 1-year contracts extensions available from us. The first one I think is going to be unanimous. JJ,
gone. Sorry, lad. Gutted, but
yeah, I am. Me too. Right. Drew Yearwood is next on my list, Ben. He's played more in your time than he has when you've not been here, to be honest with you. What's your take on Drew Yearwood if you keep him?
Keep.
Are you surprised he's not played more, based on what you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, he's the only one that looks like he can be bothered in midfield.
Yeah.
He's the only one that actually tries and looks like they're trying to win game.
Mm.
The rest of them just sort of having a kick about with a mate, sort of laugh. Yeah, it looks like he's actually playing a professional football game. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I don't think he's amazing, by the way. To clear that up, but I would keep him.
Yeah, it's one of the things that one of the sticks you can beat Hampshire up with. This Mick is the Drew Yearwood thing. I don't really get it why he's not played as much as he has. But that feeds into the fact that if we see the end of tomorrow, do you think Hampshire would keep him? My answer would be probably not.
I don't know whether he would or not, to be honest. And it's shocked me. It surprised me. I don't know whether he sees him as a similar type of player to Dan Gore, because he is. He's that breaking up in midfield player, that sort of Ollie Rathbone type player, you know, the one that just gets stuck in. So I don't know whether that's why, but I there's not a hope in hell that I'd get rid of him because like Ben says, you know, he's the only one that's showing any fight, and he definitely keep. I'm disappointed with Matt Hampshire and the way he's played him. Really disappointed in that. But anyway, there you go. That's another matter.
Yeah, I think that's pretty anonymous from everybody, but kind of Harry's comment, absolute keep him. Hampshire opinion. Tom Swift says keep him, but Hampshire doesn't like him, so God knows why. Alex James keep him just if Hammy wanted him, or was it just who we could afford? Apparently, we wanted to sign him a longer contract before he failed his medical. The rumour was originally it was going to be a 3-year contract. He failed his medical, which is why it went to 1+1. So again, even stranger the fact he's not played him. Really, really strange. Danny on that one?
No, I agree. I'd love to see him in training because he must be absolutely horrific if he doesn't put him into games. Or, like you said, it can be the stick we hit Amshaw with because he just doesn't play him enough for me. Purely based on what we've seen of him on the pitch, extend it by a year. But in the way Amshaw's been dealing with him in the squads, I don't think we will. I think it'll be a chase for your efforts and off you go.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Mick's gone. Josh Benson, Danny?
Again, another player who's putting a shift on the pitch, but injuries are letting him down. You know, he's been a good player when he's been fit. He's just not fit enough. You know, so it'd be a risk giving him an extension of a year, but then I suppose, I don't know. I'd extend it by a year based on his performances on the pitch, but I can understand why we don't extend it, if that makes sense. If he can stay fit for next season, we've given him a year, brilliant. If not, then, you know, he can be out of contract and off you go.
I think the problem with Benson has been that we're treating him like he's always going to be available. He is that important to the team that if he isn't available, we miss him. I think if you can have Josh Benson in your squad and it be okay if he's not fit, and you can work around his unavailability, then I think it works. It's just a bonus if you have Josh Benson because he is such a good player. Whereas at the minute, I think it's like, oh my God, well, Benson's not available, or we've got nobody to create anything. I think that's the problem with him. If we had somebody else to kind of play in his position who was as good, I would keep him just as a bit part player because his wages won't be very much because of his injuries. Mick?
Sorry, I've Bills have beaten Jags, that's all, which is a bit of a disappointment. Who are we talking about? I don't know. I'm kidding.
This is the quality content we bring you.
I'm joking. He's a quality footballer. Yeah. And I don't understand why. I understand why we can't keep him fit. We can't keep anybody fit. But, you know, nobody's been able to keep him fit. So, yeah, he's got to go. We can't be having these players. We can't. Much as I think he is a quality footballer, there's no doubt. He's way, way above this level. Way above League One. However, he's not though, is he? Because he's never here. So, yeah. Yeah,
if he can get himself a run between when he comes back at the end of the season, obviously things might change, but at the minute, it's a concern. Ben, have you even seen Benson play?
No.
I think so. That's fine. He scored a hat-trick just before you got back.
No, against Salford, no?
Yeah, one from halfway line.
Yeah. So there's a reason we're getting rid of Ben.
That's everybody. Is he last one on a contract at the end of January?
Everybody's pretty much the same. Get rid because of injuries. That's fine. Gore, Baptiste, and Ateta are your loanies. I think everybody would take Gore and Baptiste, either loan or permanent. I don't think we need to go through that. That goes without saying. So Noel Jones says, "Cheers, Mick. Was going to watch it after here. Not heard the score."
You weren't, Noel, because Niners are on in a minute, so you were going to watch that Niners Eagles. So you're not. I'm not buying that one.
No. Right, that's the contract. Final question, Mike the Miller: Is it a magic or tragic weekend for the FA Cup? I.e., Macclesfield win or FA Cup largely hidden behind a paywall? The fact that the FA Cup's behind a paywall is a scandal, a literal scandal of football. It should be on free-to-air. It should have always been on free-to-air. This should never have been a conversation. But as Mike said, the biggest upset in FA Cup history happened this weekend. The holders went out to a sixth-tier team. Was it the sixth tier?
117 league positions between the two of them.
Just amazing. And even the Brighton Man U game was a really good game. For two Premier League teams, it was a really, really good game. I think the Premier League teams are starting to take it a bit more seriously again, based on what Palace did last year. So I think there's life in it yet. But you all know my feelings on the FA Cup. I've talked about when we lost in the first round every year. I love it, and it's just the best. But the fact, the FA Cup draws. You've got to go on YouTube to watch the FA Cup draw. What's that about? It's just absolute madness. The disrespect it's shown by the FA is
doesn't bring them enough money. That's the issue for the FA. It doesn't bring them enough money, so they don't care. They don't care about the football supporters. They don't care about the fans. They care about the money. And
Well,
that's
don't put
why
it
it's
behind a paywall,
because they get paid. They get the money from it. If it's free to air, they don't get any money. This is where we are with football, isn't it? This is where football is. And, I watched the Spurs Villa game yesterday, which were pretty embarrassing, really. The standard refereeing were just embarrassing.
Big fan of handbags at the end, though. Big fan of that, aren't we?
Yeah, well, yeah. And what caused that? An absolutely top-notch, grade 1 tackle. It was a fantastic tackle, which got him booked.
Yeah,
it's got the player booked, and an England player, Rodgers, rolling about like an absolute pansy because he's making it look like he got his leg broken because he'd been tackled. That's what caused that at the end, and the referee just bought everything. He bought everything yesterday, which is why I don't watch Premier League football. I don't know. I've gone off on a tangent, but it's a disgrace the way that the FA treat the FA Cup.
You're right, but footballing symmetry, we're back. We are so back on footballing symmetry. Scott Kent's put some on here. I'm going to add to what Scott Kent says. 117 places between Macclesfield and Crystal Palace, and 117 years since the last biggest upset that included the Holders. And do you know who the team were that beat the Holders?
Palace.
Macclesfield.
It was Crystal Palace.
Oh.
Beautiful.
How was that? Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I think
finish.
that's a great place to finish. One of the best bits of footballing symmetry you could ever have. So, yeah, there we go. Anything else, fellas?
Sarah's not buying your FA Cup.
No, it's just about having been watching Rotherham for 30 plus years. I don't enjoy the FA Cup. It's rare I even watch it.
As a Rotherham fan, I don't enjoy the FA Cup. As a football fan, I enjoy the FA Cup.
Yes, I agree. It's one of I watch football occasionally. It's one of the few weekends where I watch a lot of football because I just love it. It's just great. It's just really good. Anyway. Right, we're done. We will be back on Thursday. We're next live on Thursday, which will be a preview of Stockport County, which is going to be a hell of a tough game. The scouting report will be out probably Wednesday. We've got that booked in, so that should be out and ready to go for Wednesday. So keep an eye out for that. We obviously have the Huddersfield game Tuesday. I don't plan on doing an instant reaction for that because it's a virtual trophy, but plans change. We'll see what happens with that. Keep an eye on things. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you give the video a thumbs up, as there's several hundred of you watching. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you've subscribed. If you're watching on X, follow us. Then get over to YouTube and go from there as well. Harry's saying Wigan game is called off because of the FA Cup, which is not ideal. I haven't even checked the dates on that one.
Yeah, so we're going through, and their fourth round falls on the weekend we're going to play them.
Well, that's ridiculous, isn't it? Well, that's another spare weekend. What they could do is put... no, never mind. Bradford or something. Ignore me. I'll look into that. If you are listening to iTunes, Spotify, follow, subscribe. We had an absolute nightmare with the audio podcast at the week along the Friday episode, so I do apologise about that. We only put one part up, and the one part I put up was from an episode in December. So it was just an absolute shit show.
Amateur
stuff.
Creative director's fault, I reckon.
Well, listen, it doesn't happen with other podcasts. I don't know why it's happened with ours.
Anyway,
I'll tell you why. Because of the deep-rooted issues of this podcast.
The higher-ups won't listen to that, Mick, I promise you.
I'm sure's fault, that's what it is.
Yeah, Paul Douglas's fault. Thank you all for watching. We will see everybody next time. And as always, over the Millers.
Over the Millers.
Over the Millers.
Comes for more. 2 for Jepson, 2 for Rotherham. Shoots. Ravel. Vicious. But brilliant. The sweetest feeling for Rotherham United.
Woods got round the back, and Richie Wood has done it again. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly.
Do me a favor, drop me off